Seeing Disneyland represented in a movie and having a whole sequence actually set at the park, it just makes me want to go back, man. It really, really, really does. I mean, just seeing Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson walk down Main Street, USA into Fantasyland, like nothing beats that magic in the morning. Saving Mr. Banks has hit its 10th anniversary this year. It stars Emma Thompson as P.L. Travers, Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. And this is actually the first Disney film which actually shows the audience the development of a Disney film. A deep dive behind the scenes. Well, sort of a deep dive. This movie isn't totally historically accurate, but you probably knew to expect something whimsical. Tom Hanks, as I mentioned, plays Walt Disney. He's spurred on by a promise he made to his daughters, and he embarks on what would become a 20-year quest to obtain the movie rights to Mary Poppins, which on a personal note would turn into one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. The author, P.L. Travers, played by Emma Thompson, proves to be an uncompromising curmudgeon who has no intention of letting her beloved characters become mangled up in the Hollywood machine. For lack of a better term, she does not want these characters Disneyfied because these characters remind her of her upbringing on the farm. But when her book stops selling and she finds herself in need of money, Travers reluctantly agrees to consider Disney's proposition. And from there, my gosh, it's a really compelling look at how two clashing egos want a story to be told. Mary Poppins is just one of those stories that is incredibly special to me. And I feel like this movie completely captures what that story was all about and what it means to these people. And I feel like you really get behind both sides of the argument here. P.L. Travers wants this story to be a proper tribute to her upbringing, and Disney just wants to spread the charm and the entertainment to everybody. Disney wants to inspire people, and P.L. Travers wanted it told a certain way that it respected her legacy. And damn me, it always surprises me every time I look back at this movie how freaking adult it is, because you've seen behind the scenes flicks like this before, but in this case you don't really get a glimpse of what it was like on the set of Mary Poppins. You don't even really see the actors who are playing Julie Andrews or Dick Van Dyke. No, this is just all in script writing, development of the songs. The Sherman Brothers are prominent characters in this, and you hear their amazing tunes in the rehearsal room, and my God, does it bring a smile to my face. And I think that's the real strength of Saving Mr. Banks, is that after all this time of bringing family-friendly entertainment, Disney is comfortable in its honesty. Case in point, you see Walt Disney in this movie smoke, drink, and swear. I mean, granted, these are brief little moments sprinkled into the mix, but it's in there. Legend has it that Walt Disney did not want to smoke in front of people so as not to tarnish his image in any way. But I really give this movie props for being upfront about things. And I really do think the performances hugely propel this movie to a whole other level. Emma Thompson is magnificent as P.L. Travers. The homework that Emma Thompson went into to actually prep for this project is staggering. And as the young ones will say, Emma Thompson understood the assignment. And this is the project that got her a bunch of awards. Not a Best Actress nomination for some reason, but golly, she was great in this. And this is actually the project that would propel her into Disney superstardom nowadays. Like, you see her, like, she's voicing Mrs. Potts in the Beauty and the Beast remake. She's the villain in Cruella. I feel like Emma Thompson is going to have a spot at Disney for life because of this performance. And Emma Thompson gets so much critical acclaim, and it goes without saying. Just watch her in this movie. She is so freaking good. But please do not overlook Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. I feel like I've said this a few times, but Tom Hanks is probably the most recognizable actor alive. Like, you could just rattle off at least a half a dozen Tom Hanks projects without even thinking about it, and they're all memorable. The fact that I don't see Tom Hanks at all in this performance, and I just see the real Disney talking to Emma Thompson, like, that's a testament to that man's talent. I think he captures Walt Disney in such a charming and honest way. And the scene where he actually flies to P.L. Travers' house to get the rights to the film, although overly fictionalized, it's a very honest and down-to-earth scene. Which brings me to the movie's overall message. I feel like it actually has a great message, not just for adults, which this movie is definitely more aimed for, but the kids. I feel like any young kids, if they feel like they're mature enough to watch this, I feel like they can definitely resonate with this. And it's a very important message for anybody. Don't let the past dictate how you live your life. And damn, I really respect the direction John Lee Hancock took with this direction, because Saving Mr. Banks is a movie that could have very easily gone the corny route. Like, again, for lack of a better term, they could have overly Disneyfied this product and it would have turned out a little bit more phony. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they went with a more earnest and grounded approach. Yeah, sure, there's definitely some overly whimsical moments, like the flashbacks, which I can certainly talk about. But this is just really solid. I think if you're a writer, if you're a songwriter, if you're a script writer, if you're a writer in general, if you want to see how a film is developed out of a book, this is a good film to look at. Thompson and Hanks, obviously your two central performances, are fantastic. I always forget that Paul Giamatti is in this movie portraying Ralph the driver. He is so likable. The way he's dealing with Emma Thompson throughout the first half of this movie almost makes me feel like he's a Disney cast member who's dealing with a bunch of uptight customers. But yet Paul Giamatti just has to keep going about his day with a smile on his face like nothing is wrong. And him and Emma Thompson actually do have nice chemistry and they form a nice bond in this movie. The two actors that got to play the Sherman brothers, I think, are both very likable in their own ways. Bradley Whitford, who would go on to act in Get Out a few years after Saving Mr. Banks, man, is he good. And like I said, there are a few overly whimsical moments, like the Sherman brothers dancing with P.L. Travers to Let's Go Fly a Kite. And yeah, that probably didn't happen in real life. They probably tossed those scenes into the mix to throw some additional charm in there to put a smile on your face. But like I said, my favorite scenes, the strongest scenes in this movie in my eyes, the honest ones. It's the smaller, tender moments. It's those heart-to-heart conversations. It's Walt Disney walking in to hearing Feed the Birds as a Sherman brother is sitting there plucking it out on a piano. That was Walt Disney's favorite song, and, you know, Tom Hanks plays it off like, you know, it's lightning in a bottle. Now let's discuss the flashbacks real quick. I've talked a little bit about how the movie can very dangerously almost get overly whimsical, and I feel like those flashbacks are the biggest culprit of that. Now, these are definitely very important pieces to this movie to give you some background information about P.L. Travers and not just think that she's this grouchy woman. Very integral to her character development overall. But I honestly, looking back, just don't really like how they're edited together. I feel like if you're not paying attention to the super text on the first flashback, it can get a little bit confusing, and you're like, wait, what part of the timeline are we in right now? Did I miss something? And let's talk about the big one, the ending. Look, a lot of people, I feel like, can definitely interpret this as, oh yeah, that could definitely have been historically accurate. The tears Emma Thompson was shedding there, yeah, she could have definitely been resenting it in that moment. But with how that whole ending sequence was written, with how Disney's character is presented there, and the smile that P.L. Travers has on her face, I can't overly say that it's historically accurate. There might have been a bit of a missed opportunity to actually make it more historically realistic, but I get for the message that the movie is trying to convey, I get why the ending was written like that and fictionalized in the way it was. Other than those two big problems, the flashbacks and the ending, Saving Mr. Banks is a rock-solid Disney movie with two great central performances, with not to mention a phenomenal score from Thomas Newman, which was actually nominated for an Oscar in 2013. I mean, what can I say? This guy's a legend. He composed the scores for Shawshank Redemption, Finding Nemo. This guy certainly has some Oscar-winning and Disney pedigree to his credit, so it's no surprise that Saving Mr. Banks is as good of a score as it was. All in all, I think this movie, while not historically as accurate as it could have been, this is a very fascinating look into the development of a Disney project. And of all places, for Disney as a studio to put this out and to be as honest as they were up front, I gotta commend them for that. I'm gonna give Saving Mr. Banks a B+. This is just a really solid Disney movie that I think y'all should check out. Let me know what you thought of Saving Mr. Banks down in the comments section below. What did you think of Mary Poppins as well? Do you have any memories growing up watching Mary Poppins? Any memories growing up watching Disney movies in general? Let me know all those thoughts and much more down in the comments. loads of things we can discuss over here, all things geeky like in the Disney realm. This channel is the place to be if you want all those topics covered. Do consider subscribing and tap on that thumbs up as well. Really helps continue to grow this awesome community that we already are over here. And y'all are invited to the party. Stay tuned for more exciting videos very soon. Pretty slow weekend for new releases aside from Gran Turismo. And I've got a few ideas formulating in my brain about the next retro Disney movie. So loads to stay tuned for, guys. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk commence.